Hi, everybody. Angel here. I hope you're doing great. I'm super excited to speak with Nzinga today of Yes, Baby, I Like It Raw. So, thank you for joining, and we'll get started soon. And if you have missed some of the previous Instagram lives over the past several months, they're all on Instagram, IGTV, so you can catch up on the ones you might have missed over the last little while. So they're there waiting for you whenever you're ready. If you could request to join, that would be awesome. Thank you. There we go. Thank you so much. Hi there.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. How are you?
I'm great.
Awesome. Thank you so much for taking the time. I know everyone's busy. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you. I have pinned our topics down below in a summary form just to keep me on track. And I will be playing with filters, so you will see different images popping up
I
here.
see.
Right now, I have some cauliflower. we'll see
Awesome.
we'll see what else we get. And for everyone who's joining, thank you so much for joining. Please put your questions and comments down below. And first of all, I need to make sure I'm pronouncing your name properly. So please tell me how to pronounce your name.
It's in Zynga.
Nzinga.
Can I quickly grab a glass of water? I'm coming
Absolutely.
from hot yoga and my mouth is
Oh,
like, give me a
oh,
second.
absolutely. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. We will get started soon. Put your questions and comments down below, and Nzinga will be happy to answer as we go along. If you're not yet following Nzinga at Yes Baby I Like It Raw, I highly invite you and encourage you to do so. And that way you can follow her journey. So, again, thank you so much, Nzinga, for taking the time. We have lots of topics to get to, so I think we should
Yes.
just jump right in. And my first question for you is to please share with us your vegan journey, how you started, and how you ended up to where you are today.
So this August will be my 20th
Oh,
anniversary.
oh my gosh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Oh my gosh.
um, And if you'd asked me 20 years ago, would I go vegan? I probably would have been like, nope. Hey, Akil. I'm sorry, somebody I saw was there. So my journey, it was a crux. I was at an intersection of wanting to live a better life and feeling better in my body. And so when I decided to go vegan, it was because of some illnesses I had been diagnosed with at that point for about a decade. I got diagnosed pretty early in my life with a pituitary tumor, an autoimmune disorder called scleroderma, as well as PCOS. And consequently, I was placed on a lot of medication. I had about 5 specialists that I was seeing on a regular basis, and was essentially told that I'd have to be on medication for the rest of my life in order to thrive. And, thriving is relative because with medication comes side effects, right? And so the
Mm,
side effects were not that pleasant. And I was just always questioning my physicians that if there had to be another way. And so as I deep dive a little bit more, I felt like a holistic lifestyle would really help me gain control of what was going on in my body. It allowed my body to reset and re-heal. And that involved me also taking on a vegan diet. And so consequently, I will say here I am 20 years later, no meds, a lot of the side effects from my uh, conditions are gone, as long as I live in alignment. And, so it's not just what I eat physically, but also what I consume in terms of stress and things like that. And so that was one of the biggest things for me to discover. And I think a lot of people who have autoimmune disorders and things like that don't really go into that realm of it. And so, with veganism, there's certain things that happen naturally. You don't look at the world a certain way. You look at the world with a different lens. And sometimes I would say that.
Some of us, some
Yeah.
of the time,
Yeah.
but not all of us all of the time,
Yes,
right?
yeah, I'm not going to say everyone who's vegan is holistic. In my case, my vegan journey, everything was tied together. I went vegan. I cut off my perm. I mean, like everything happened simultaneously. So it was very cold turkey for me. Not that I suggest that for most of my clients, but that was my journey.
Yeah, and I think, well, thank you so much for sharing. And I'm sorry that suffered for so many years. And I'm thrilled that you found a way out of that. And it's true. Like, I'm also kind of an overnight person, where if I decide something, that's it. I'm just going to do it. And so I can relate to that. But I also know some people like to take it slowly and ease themselves into it. So I appreciate you kind of looking at both sides of the coin, I guess, because it's not a one size fits all for everyone.
Not at all.
Yeah, yeah. I want to say hi to everybody who's joining. Thank you so much. Please put your questions and comments down below, and Zinga will be happy to answer. And while we wait, we're going to go to our next question, which is your wellness coaching. Can you tell us a bit about your wellness coaching, please?
Sure. Through my wellness programs, I help people who have been diagnosed with illnesses reverse the symptoms that might be um, part of that particular diagnosis. I also help people who specifically have weight loss um, goals. Also, people who want to go into a yoga practice and manage their stress. So there's a lot of and then I also have clients who want to learn how to cook better or eat better. So I offer a multitude of services around that through Yes Baby I Like It Raw. So some of it is group coaching, some of it's one-on-one. Really depends on what the person wants and how involved they want me to be in their process.
That's a good one. I like that. Thank you. It's great because I know some coaches, they only offer groups and others only offer one to one. So it's great that you do both of them. We have questions and comments. So, a vegan the only way asks, what are your everyday foods?
What are my everyday foods? So I am high raw or 100% raw. Right now I'm high raw, and so I'm getting ready. Like right now, my first thing is water. Um, I have probiotics in the morning because our gut health is really important, and so that's part of my protocol. And typically, when I have water in the morning, it's with lemon or lime, as well as possibly chlorophyll. Then for breakfast, it's typically a smoothie, a green smoothie, a smoothie bowl, chia pudding, or papaya boat. So I'm gonna kind of do a combo today. I have like a
Yummy.
papaya over there, like waiting gracefully for me. With respect to lunch, it just all depends. Typically, it's a really solid salad. If I'm high raw, Buddha bowl. And then, I have like my wraps that I make. I like collard greens now like that's the example of shift. I remember the first time someone presented me with a collard wrap, I was just like, why would you do that? Like, that is absolutely disgusting. Like, get that away from me. So and I'm sharing that like
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
or
In a
when
good way, right?
my
Yeah.
friend offered me a date for the first time. I was like, that looks like a cockroach. Like, no. You know? So like I'm saying that not just for people who are like on that side, but for those of us who've been plant-based or vegan or wherever we're on a journey. Sometimes we forget our newbie selves and we can be very antagonistic and we shame other people, but we used to be on the other side.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah,
typically I have
yeah.
like a collard wrap or a nori wrap now. Things that I definitely, my palate has definitely changed. My palate has changed as I've changed my diet. I've done a lot of detoxes and cleanse, so that's allowed me to really enjoy foods that I didn't necessarily find myself akin to at the beginning of this journey.
Well, that's a funny story, but you reminded me of the first time I actually saw a wrap of any sort that was raw, right? I personally thought it was strange. I didn't think exactly the way you did, but I thought this is a little weird. And then of course along my journey I was like, wow, that's pretty helpful. Like even for like a burger, you can just replace the bun that's been in an oven with a piece of a leaf of something or the other. So, but I did find it to be a little bit weird when I first saw it.
Yeah, I mean, like, here's another good story. So I also work as a teaching artist, and as a teaching artist, I go into different schools for residencies, and I'm a multidisciplinary artist. I'm an artist, and this is like my artwork in the background and things like
Oh,
that.
beautiful.
So I remember there was this one particular class that I always saw after lunch, and so when we do our check-in time, I always do a check-in with them. I would say, well, what did you guys have for lunch today? And then they would follow with asking me, these are kindergartners.
Oh,
And
right. Yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
I told them I'm vegan because they were like, did you eat chicken? And I was like, no, actually I'm vegan. I eat plants. And they were like, ew. Right? But then here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
They took that literally. So like a
Oh,
couple of weeks later, so we're doing my favorite story is Why Giraffes Dance, and I brought in these leaves from outside, like a cut, so that we could like do because we're doing theater, right? So
okay.
we're playing out the story, and I brought the leaves, and I have them experience the leaves first, so that when we're using them, they're not like playing around with the leaves. And some of them started to eat the palm leaves. And I was like,
I,
what are you guys doing? We're eating plants like you, Miss Nzinga. I'm like,
oh
oh
my
my.
dear. Oh,
And then I was like,
there's
oh, that's
so,
why they said, they think I'm going outside, picking up some grass, picking up leaves off the bush.
they're so pure. They're just
You,
so pure. Their minds are so pure. I love it. That's adorable.
you know what? I think some adults think that too,
Yeah.
particularly when you talk about raw veganism. They don't know the beauty of like gourmet raw vegan foods. Like I'm getting ready to make some raw lasagna and things like
Ooh.
that.
Oh,
Um,
my
but
favorite.
it's we assume we eat like the quote, right, is we eat rabbit food, right? Um, so it's definitely like there's a learning curve. I think um, allowing people to have grace as they come through the experience is very important. And I think a lot of times people give up because they might have had a faux pas, right? And someone shunned them and things like that, or they've shunned themselves and then they felt like they couldn't continue on that journey.
Yeah, that's a good point. Thank you. And someone who came on an Instagram live with me, Kaylee B. Hi there, Kaylee B. She said, if you slip up, don't give up. And I thought that was so cool and so powerful, because a lot of times, like you say, we're so hard on ourselves. So definitely I can see that. And one time I was in an Uber. I apologize to those who've heard the story before, but I was telling the guy I'm a vegan, and he basically said, "Oh yeah, you eat like lettuce and stuff, right?" I was like, "No, no, no. Well, I eat way more than that." And I started to tell him, but yeah, in their minds, people think that we're just like munching on grass, you
I
know.
know.
Yeah. We have another question from NJ Frenchie. Thank you. What is a good vegan source of protein for breakfast? I am a newbie off dairy and getting off animal protein.
That's a rabbit hole question for me, right? If you have breakfast, you've gotten enough protein from your breakfast. And there's been this big conversation about getting adequate protein. But if you meet your daily caloric requirements for the day, you're fine unless you're like super athletic and you're training for a sport. And so this idea that we need to have a grandiose amount of protein in order for us to thrive, and that a vegan plant-based diet is inadequate isn't true. It's a false statement. The reality is a lot of people aren't eating enough calories for the day. And they've brought that into, if they're transitioning into a vegan diet, they're applying that same caloric deficiency. And so this deficiency was happening prior to even entering the vegan world. And I found that a lot of clients end up getting more protein or meeting their caloric requirements if they've done the right research and had a lot of people, the right people to hold their hands during this journey. So everything has, except things like water, everything has protein. And so if you're concerned, you could always use things like MyFitnessPal to help you see what you're getting out of the foods that you're eating, so that you can understand that you might not be as deficient as you should in terms of protein. And so whenever someone who's really entering this journey asks that question, I always say, instead of asking, are you getting enough protein? The question really should be, are you getting enough calories for the day?
Oh man, that was an awesome question, and the answer is amazing. And I also use Chronometer to put in my nutrition just to, sometimes check in on myself. And I'm wondering what you think about the following. So, and I'm glad you brought up the fact that some people bring their habits, quote unquote, because we're all creatures of habit. I have my own habits. You have your own habits. We all do. And like you're saying, if we had the habit of under eating, then when we switch to a vegan diet, we're not going to just like snap our fingers and, clean up our act, right, overnight. So what I have found and what I have heard, though, is that as we go along on our, we clean up our bodies, especially on a high raw diet. My understanding, though, is, the cleaner our bodies are, then the better and more efficient our bodies are at absorbing the nutrients from the food we are consuming. Whereas if we're eating a lot of junk, even processed vegan food or something like that, we might, we're not getting as much nutrition. So it's almost like our body is like, craving more and more calories, more and more nutrients. Now we bring in the calories that are not necessarily highly nutrient. So I know that I know it's like a slippery slope, and we're not giving medical advice here, but I do find that, the cleaner our bodies are, the more efficiently we can make use of the nutrients.
I agree. And just to give clarity, because when we use the word clean, that's very vague. Just to give a little bit more clarity, just because you're eating fruits and vegetables or anything doesn't mean that you're absorbing it. And so absorption happens in your colon. And so I'm saying that to say, if you have chronic constipation, if you go a day or two and you're not using the restroom, that typically is an indication that that's constipation. And so if you have constipation in that space, how is your body going to be able to absorb the vitamin and minerals that you're supposed to have? And so what are we absorbing? We're absorbing the nutrients of the food, right? But that doesn't happen in our stomach. That happens in our colon. And so that's why our colon health is so important. And when we look at indigenous cultures throughout the world, we always had a space where we fasted. We always had a space where we cleansed and detoxed. And unfortunately, those terms have been bastardized by diet culture in this current climate. And so whenever certain people hear the word, they close their ears and they're like, no, body positivity. And, and they don't understand the value of detoxing and cleansing, because specifically a cleanse, because again, we use those terms interchangeably and they don't mean the same thing. A cleanse is when you clean your colon and you use specific herbs to help wash out your colon, right? And so when you look at places like Jamaica, you have a washout. You go to Haiti, you get a lavement. You know, even in America, our grandparents, our parents, they knew it was season change. They were going to get the fish oil, the cod liver oil, and what was that? The castor oil to wash them out.
That's a
And
good
so
point.
we've left those processes. We've moved away from them because we thought they're antiquated. They didn't know what they were doing. But in reality, we have more nutritional deficiencies, and a lot of the diseases that we're seeing happening are happening because we're not absorbing the vitamins, minerals from the foods that we're eating, if we're even eating the right way. Like, that's the other side note. So I can be really, I'm called Yes Baby I Like It Raw, not just because I am about raw foods. I keep it real. And sometimes we live in a world where people really don't want you to keep it real. There's a hypersensitivity. People feel triggered. But sometimes if you feel triggered, because that might be something that you need to work on. And that was the universe giving you a moment to come into alignment with the things that you need to do. Yes, baby, I like it raw.
I just love that name. I really do. Yeah, oh man, I just love what you said though. My gosh, I hadn't even thought about the oil thing, like from grandparents and older parents. Like I hadn't even put that together, quite frankly. So thank you. That's a mystery that's being cleared up for me.
You're welcome.
Thank you. So we have another question. NJ Frenchie, is juicing a good way to go vegan? I want the convenience of juicing to get going.
Juice, so that's a loaded question too, right? Juicing is a great way to detox and fast. Is it a great way for you to go vegan? Not necessarily, right? Because there are some things that there's a learning curve with going vegan. You need to learn how to read an ingredient list so you can identify things that are not foods that are hiding, that aren't necessarily vegan. You probably need to have a better understanding of substitutes so that when you're trying to make the dishes that you loved, you know what to replace them with. So I would say that a juice fast is a great way for you to eliminate toxins, give your body a pause so that it can reset, but it doesn't necessarily set you with the tools that you need to be a great vegan. It can be a transitory process that you use for you to go vegan. So you can use that as a reset to eliminate the things that, get your colon cleansed and all that stuff. And then you could then move forward with going vegan, but making sure you do the research and have a accountability group or partner so that you can be successful on that journey.
I agree. Thank you. We have vegan the only way. We are what we absorb. This is true. NJ Frenchie, thank you. Great info. Plant-based African, are you 100% raw? Apologies if this is being asked already.
Sure. No. So I teeter. Either I'm high raw, which means 60 to 75% of my day is raw, or I'm 100% raw. Starting next week, I'm 100% raw. In preparation for the summer solstice.
Oh my gosh! I'm so excited.
So I will say that this is the diet that works best for me. A lot of people who have, and the reason, because this person apparently came on late, the reason why I have to maintain this kind of diet is because I have pre-existing conditions that require me to be unapologetic about my diet. And when I sway left or right, I start to feel the symptoms of my conditions. And so for those of you who have health conditions, who've been diagnosed with autoimmune disorders or chronic disease, a raw vegan diet could be very beneficial to you, specifically even people who have diabetes or cancer and things like that. It can be really, or high raw vegan diet can be very beneficial for you in terms of reducing the inflammation in your body, killing those precancerous cells or cancerous cells. So that's my answer to that. I hope that was helpful.
Yes, thank you. NJ Frenchie, is chlorophyll good while in detox?
Yes, chlorophyll, liquid chlorophyll is definitely good while you're detoxing. It can also, but remember, you don't need liquid chlorophyll to get your chlorophyll. If you're doing your green smoothies, if you're eating green leafy foods, there goes your chlorophyll. So you could get your chlorophyll by way of the foods that you're eating, and it's not necessary for you to get the concentrated liquid chlorophyll if you're getting chlorophyll throughout the day by way of the foods that you're eating. So don't feel like you need to go out and get that when you can get your chlorophyll through your foods.
Awesome
Not that I
point.
say I do use it, but I'm just saying that you can get your chlorophyll from your greens. You don't necessarily need to get chlorophyll to get your chlorophyll and the benefits of the chlorophyll. And then your greens give you the greens throughout the day have the fiber and the other elements that you also need in order for you to thrive.
Oh my gosh, you just cleared up something for me personally. Someone, my plant-based raw vegan guru, chef, master, whomever you want to call him, teacher, he had recommended chlorophyll some time ago, and I looked for it, but there were no organic options in the supermarket. So I was really, not very happy with that. And of course I was eating my greens and everything, and I have other green powders and everything. But I still felt like, oh no, I didn't really get, the chlorophyll that he had recommended to me. So in summary, you have just like alleviated some of my stress because it's true. So thank you to that person for asking, and for you and to you for answering, because I really was still a little bit sad, that I couldn't find that organic chlorophyll because the one they had was not organic. And I was like, oh, I don't really want to get this. So thank you for clearing that up. And we
You're welcome.
have NJ French, who said that they were using liquid chlorophyll years ago. And yes, baby, I like it raw. I need your help, says NJ Frenchie.
Okay, Angie, message me. I have a summer solstice cleanse that I'm in my first group right now. I have a second one that starts July 5th. And I have a lot of different options in terms of support. So just reach out and or you can go to my website and deep dive there. It's yesbabyilikeItraw.com.
Awesome. I'm planning on doing something to clean my act up for the solstice. So I just need the motivation to know it's a certain date. So that's why I'm like pegging it on that date when the solstice starts. So yeah, I'm going to try to do something. We have Christelle saying, yes, my Haitian queen, plant-based African. Yes, it was helpful. Christelle, green smoothie every morning. You are so helpful, says NJ. Okay. Christelle, watercress, celery, cucumber, kale, spinach, moringa, wheatgrass as well. Yikes, that's a good one. All right. So NJ's going to reach out to you. While we wait for more questions and comments, let's go to your chef services, please. Please tell us about your chef services that you offer.
Sure. So I do cooking classes for clients. I actually have a pre-recorded series that I had for those of you who want to just watch it. I also do live cooking classes. I have a class coming up for Juneteenth next weekend.
Mm-hmm.
They've hired me to do a 1 hour class. So I have two sides. I do cooking classes, and then I have the clients who don't have the time and they know they can't execute the skills that they would learn in the class. So they have me make the food on their behalf. So I do private chefing as well. All of it is plant-based vegan, either raw or cooked. A lot of times people assume because I'm Yes Baby I Like It Raw that I don't know how to make cooked foods, and that's not the case at all. Again, when I'm high raw, I do have cooked foods. So just lots of services in terms of food. My clients are trying to keep me. It's a big thing. Like they don't want me to go anywhere, and it's like, what am I supposed to do? Kind of deal. So that's a good blessing. And I have
Awesome.
a high raw vegan ebook on my website, in addition to in the production of a Haitian vegan cookbook, which will be printed.
Nice. I saw some of your footage in your reels about you veganizing some of your dishes. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that was a good. May was definitely
Yeah,
exciting.
Yeah,
because I
yeah.
had a recipe for every day and maybe that was so laborious.
Amazing. Oh my gosh. But I'm sure it's super helpful though, so I'm sure it was worth it.
It
Now, I
was.
think we have two questions. Oops, one question is, do you agree with Dr. Esselstyn, no oils?
Again, I feel it's one great question. I yes and no. Um, I keep oils to I keep oils to a minimum because when you understand what oils are, it's a processed food. I get so in excess, processed foods can be harmful and more harmful to specific people depending on your genetic makeup, right? If you are someone who suffers from hypertension and diabetes, it's a hard no. And so I got my certificate in plant-based nutrition from Cornell University, and we really started to look at the research that shows how the oil upticks the insulin levels, it upticks the cancer. And so for the individuals who specifically come to me with very, because most of my clients unfortunately don't come to me when they're healthy, they're coming to me when they're in a crisis. And so it's typically a hard no with the oil because the oil can be a major culprit for a lot of the things that they're being diagnosed with.
Thank you for that. And we have another one here um, from the Caleb. How do you encourage children to get more veggies in when they don't prefer them?
Great question. This is a question I get often, and I will say it starts with the parents. And so a lot of times you want to give children things that they don't also see us eating. And so then, of course, they're not going to eat it. And then I also say to this, because I do a lot of work with children, so I understand the psychology of children. Background is in neuroscience. If they say no the first time, don't give up. You have to try at least 20 times, and then that might be a real hard no. You can make it fun. You can get excited, make food exciting. We eat with our eyes first. So if that means you hide it in your pancakes, you had it in your, you're going to make some healthy cookies. I had a partnership with a company called Lard. In their brownies, they have kale, beets, so like think of ways that you can hide the veggies in dishes that they already like, but then you're also wanting them to have a different relationship with the color green. Unfortunately, there's some programming that's
Yeah.
happening when we look at our children's books, when we look at our cartoons, where we look at the color green and we automatically say ew. So that's a conditioning that you have to rephrase, right?
Yeah.
So giving them a green smoothie, maybe topping it with some nice light lovely colors, so on first appearance it doesn't become off-putting to them, but it's definitely a work. It's a job to get children to eat veggies if it's not something that you started from day one. And what day one really looks like, and this is for, because I also do work as a doula, I'm really big on prenatal work, is what were you eating while you were pregnant? Those things start to form the palate of your child. So for those of you who are planning to conceive, you want to consider that as well. Children don't know junk food unless they've been introduced to quote unquote junk food. So if your child has an aversion to greens, just add them in by hiding them, but then you need to have them show up so that when they see them, they understand the benefits. And do the psychology that we have with Popeye the Sailor Man. How many of us, for those of us who are Popeye the Sailor Man age, ate spinach because we wanted to be like Popeye the Sailor Man? So start to give them the nutritional facts. When you eat this, this is going to make you stronger. This is going to make you like whatever superhero that they like. Do you want to be able to see better at night? Carrots help you have night vision. Play to that. you know, I think sometimes we feel like children are not able if you tell them the benefits, then that gives them more incentives, you know, so make it fun. I could do a whole children's
Yeah.
lecture because this is really my work.
Yeah.
I've been doing work with children for 15 years, but you have to make it fun. And, you know, just also have patience and grace. Grace with yourself if you're trying to just now introduce vegetables and they have an aversion. It's okay. It happens to everyone, but it can happen. Let me give you a story. So my friend left her children with me for a week because she knew they would be in good hands, and she gave them some foods that I didn't necessarily approve of. So I accidentally burnt them. And I made this kale salad, you know, and one of the children was like, "Oh my God, you burnt it." I was like, "Oh, really? Did I?" And so
I love that.
then I was just like, "Well, I have this soup and salad that you can try." And immediately I was like, you know, and I was like, "Well, what you can do is try a little. And if you like it, I'll give you more. And if not, I'll make you something else." So at first it was like picking up the kale like it was going to like infect her, right? So then she had it and she sucked on the leaf and was just like, "Oh, all right." And she ate, then she asked for more. The next day when I picked them up, "Can you make that soup and salad that I made that I had yesterday?" But no, 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 it gets better. Mom comes from trip, picks them up. You know, children always leave stuff wherever they are
Yeah.
at.
Oh, yeah.
So mom calls and says, "I'm going to bring, I'm coming over to pick up the things that the children left." She calls me a few minutes later and is like, "What did you do to my children?" I was like, "What?" She was like, "I was getting ready to take them to McDonald's to grab some food. And they said, no, we're going to Auntie Azinga's house. She can just make us a salad."
Oh,
When, you know, like
oh, you need to open your own children's restaurant. Hello, your
you
own
know,
family restaurant.
yeah.
That is magic.
And she was like, "I can't get them to eat vegetables, you know," and it's just changing things up, you know. And I also started to have them when they were with me that week. I had them help me in the kitchen, you know, because I was doing some recipe testing, and I was making a raw cinnamon roll. And so then I was like having them make the sauce, and then I dehydrated and asked them their opinion. They're like, "Ooh, I like this, but I think this could be better." And then I made them like an almond butter sauce. So involve them in the process as well. You know, and then you know, their palates are still, if they're pretty young, their palates are still being formed.
Totally.
And so it's easier than if you're dealing with like a 16-year-old or 17-year-old. But I do food demos in high school, and I get children to like things that they wouldn't necessarily like. You
Yeah.
know, so it's all about how you put it to put it together for them, to be honest.
Oh my gosh, I learned so much, so many little tricks there. So we have Christelle saying the parents are the first teachers. Her son drank a smoothie every morning. He's 14 months. Let's see. 8-year-old daughter as well. She ate everything I eat, the first to make good choices. There we go. Let me just see if yes, that's it. Right way I teach my daughter benefits of everything. I talk to you, and she loves raw. Oh, she loves raw green beans. Awesome. So let's go to our next topic while we wait for more questions and comments. Thanks for joining. Please pop your questions below. Tell us, please, about your yoga classes.
Oh, awesome. So I teach yoga in person and online. Most for the most part, recently it's been mainly online.
Yeah.
I have a app that I've designed where people can take classes on demand, as well as live. More specifically, I've been teaching yoga to children who are in a mental institution. They brought me in to teach dance and yoga to them because they weren't necessarily thriving with the new regulations. They weren't getting the outside contact that they necessarily need because of the pandemic. And so like now, like it's a split group. They tend to keep the boys and girls separated. My boys, ironically, are like yoga lovers. So they're like this one boy raised his hand last week and was just like, "Can we do yoga instead of dance, like the whole session. Because typically what I do is I do a combo for my children who are really energetic and need to get their energy out. We do the West African dance first, then I segue into yoga. But then when I was like, well, I said to him, let's do a class vote to see what the majority want. Majority said yoga, you know. And
Oh,
so then the next class they're like, can we do that? And it's been good, you know,
it's
because I
beautiful.
know they're feeling better. These are children who are struggling with mental health disorders, anxiety, abandonment. And I'm glad to be able to offer them the practice of yoga because I know it was beneficial to me in terms of processing my trauma and having a different relationship with my body.
That is beautiful. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Okay, we have a question. Are there any water pictures you like? Zero water picture is a type I am considering trying.
That is a very difficult question to answer. It depends on what's going on with the water in your city. Um, the water in our cities are not the same, so every water filter is not going to do what you need it to do in order for you to have clean water. So you can go to, I believe Environmental Workers Group has a list of, there's a water, if you go to my friend's website, mamavation.com, she tells you what filters do what. So I'm going to put that in
Of
here.
course, please.
Um, you know, my friend Leah has an amazing website for those of you who want to have a toxin-free household for your family. Of course, so here's the link.
Awesome.
Thank me later. So
Awesome.
on there, so if you put water filters, she has a couple of articles, and then she also sends you to the website for you to kind of figure out what's going on in your specific city. I personally have two filters that I'm using from. I have a Kagan filter, and then I have a Berkey filter that I work with.
I've heard of
But
both of them and they both have great reputations.
yeah. So, but for me to say use this filter is not doing justice because we have an epidemic when it comes to the pollutants and toxins that are in our water. A lot of us think it's just something that's happening in Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan is just they weren't able to keep it under wraps, and there's a lot of places throughout the United States whose water is just as bad, if not worse.
I agree with you. Let's see. Can we make alkaline water at home with lemons and baking soda?
It can have an alkalining effect to the water. That's why we put lemon water in there, but it doesn't necessarily take away the pollutants. So that's the X factor. You can even use charcoal to clean your water. So a
Yeah,
lot
I
of
had a
these,
charcoal filter when I was
yeah,
traveling.
yeah. So especially like what's it called? Life straw is a straw, and I think one of the components to that straw is charcoal. The water conversation is like it's its own course.
I
You
agree.
know, it's its own course,
I
and it's
agree.
definitely not one size fits all.
I agree.
Because then there's always the alkaline versus spring water versus
Yeah,
distilled, when
yeah,
to use it.
yeah.
I always say most people aren't even drinking enough water. Just drink water first.
And I would say also like, natural living water, like from fruits and vegetables as well.
Yeah,
I personally feel like that's the most amazing water because we're not all lucky enough to live next to, pristine spring water and
exactly.
natural water. So for me, the next best thing is fruits and veggies, whatever water's in them. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, it's so ironic that you said that because I literally just told some people in my group cleanse, you know, because they were like, when I drink water, I'm rushing to the bathroom, and I was like, well, don't forget you can eat your water, and
Yes.
when you eat your water, it doesn't burn as quickly as when you drink it.
Yes.
So it doesn't move through. When I say that, I mean it doesn't flush out of the body as quickly, because you have all those other things that the body is moving through.
Yes, thank you. So, our next topic is your app, and someone asked about your app as
That's
well.
one of my close friends, bestie
Shop
friends.
Jacks, Shop Jacks. There we go. So, yeah, let's talk about your app, and then our next topic is also your online shop. I don't know how they combine.
Sure. So, I built an app specifically for Black women. It's opening up for men later on in the year. I think I'm still debating how to separate because I have on my team of advisors, I have psychologists, and we want to make sure that we keep safe spaces.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So 365 Zing was designed to help Black women have sustainable practices when it comes to their wellness. And so on this app, we take all the features that we find on multiple apps and centralize it in one place. So it looks like recipes that you can meal plan. It looks like on-demand classes. It looks like live classes. So some of our live classes in the past have been 6 weeks to holistic living. Exhale, which was a class for mothers. We've had a fashion designer come in and talk about how do you dress according to your body. And so it's not just food, it's a mind, body, spirit type of app. We also have journaling prompts, a self-care checklist that you use, ways to keep your metrics if you're someone who needs to, like, you're following through your weight, and you'll see your show charts your progress. And then there's also a community, so you can engage with other people on the app. So I built that last year. It's been a long time coming. I wanted to have the app a few years ago. And last year offered me the space to actually take the time to learn how to build my app out. So it's been something that I'm pretty excited about. I'm really proud of.
You should be.
Because I wish I
Hello.
had the app when I started my journey 20 years ago, because it's really hard to get all this information in one place. Even today, it's very difficult, And so that's where we can answer these questions and be more specific, according to people's needs. And most importantly, there's a cultural context that is taken into account that we often dismiss. But those things factor in, not in just into our genetics, but it factors into how we move, what our needs are, and, specifically speaking to those issues, how it relates to our overall wellness.
And so, where can people find your app?
They would go to my website, which is 365zing.com. Let me put it in here.
Okay.
Yeah. 365zing.com. We have a couple of courses that are coming up and challenges, including I'm doing a summer solstice challenge with them on the app.
Awesome. Now, someone brought up your doula clients. Their doula clients. They tell their doula clients this. You mentioned that you are a doula.
I am.
I would love for you to tell us a bit about your doula services and also your online shop.
Sure. So with my doula services, I do pre and post natal services. So a lot of times people need a postpartum doula, oftentimes more than they need. I shouldn't say that. A doula is someone who supports the woman and sometimes the family through the birth process. So while they're pregnant, we help them set up a plan for their birth. We help them align in terms of their diet and just getting things in alignment for that process. Because I am who I am in terms of the other services I do, sometimes that looks like I have add-ons where, I can help them meal plan. I can actually do food preparation for them as well. And then during the birthing process, we're there to support them through that process. So we're considered the assistant to the mother. And so making sure that she continues to have a safe space while she's birthing the child. Postpartum, those first 40 days are really critical. As someone who is of Haitian descent, I'm often like jaw dropped when I see women out the house first week, and when I grew up in a culture where we didn't leave the house for the first 40 days,
Wow.
And during those first 40 days, We give baths, we wrap, and so I bring my cultural practices and my postpartum work in terms of the wrapping that we do to support the core that's gone from being extended to like organs dropping. There's herbs that we bathe the woman in, and we have them do what's called a sitz bath. But that we have those herbs to help reduce the bleeding time after giving birth. Because a lot of people don't know, after you have a child, then you have a period of time that you bleed. And that can be a very critical window, you know, if you're bleeding too much, especially if you had big blood loss during the birth. And then we also help them set up the home before they have the birth so that when they come home, that the space is prepared for them. And there's so many other things that we do as doulas, but that's just some of the offerings. You know, we can also help you create a schedule for your friends to come and bring food. In the past, I've helped my clients organize and deliver a blessing way instead of a baby shower. I believe all birthing mothers should have a blessing way. A blessing way is a Native American practice where we honor the mother and we pour into her in preparation for the birth.
That's
Typically,
powerful.
it's such a powerful process. We wash her feet, we make a crown for her, we bring gifts only for the mother, because a lot of times I feel like the mother is left out of the conversation.
Yeah,
She's
baby
just
clothes,
a carrier,
baby
you know.
clothes, baby bottles.
Yeah. And so in a blessing way, we only give gifts for the mother, you know. And so those are some of the things that I do as a doula. And then I have Yes Baby I Like It Raw. And all of those things fall under Yes Baby I Like It Raw. Again, with Yes Baby I Like It Raw, I do health consultations, private and group yoga classes. I even have supplements. Look, I'm like, so I have like, this is my super greens. I call it the incredible bulk because it's got a lot of powerful herbs and powders, or a lot of powerful herbs that are powdered form. So it has moringa, burdock, alfalfa, chlorella, spirulina. This is like, it's called the incredible bulk because it makes you feel really good. It's good for removing heavy metals from the body. I also released some new stuff in preparation for my book. So I do have like pickles, which is a Haitian condiment, on the site as well. And there's some other things, t-shirts, ebooks, stuff like that. So.
And where do people find your online shop, please?
It's yesbabyilikeItraw.com.
Awesome. Awesome. Christelle says those herbs with your first bath, a lot, root cleaning, detox for the body.
Exactly.
Beautiful. It's beautiful though. Oh my gosh, the way you were explaining it was just so beautiful. You know, that the mother is given all the pampering and attention and healing properties. It's just amazing. I love that.
Yeah, I mean, again, even like when we look at other cultures, the mother is pampered after birth. She's not left by herself. And I think that's why a lot of postpartum depression that we see is because they don't feel supported.
No.
You know,
They're all alone.
They don't have support. Husbands can't take paternity leave or maternity leave, and it's very unfortunate because it's such a critical time, not just for the mother, but for the child and for the family. And we live in a world that is contraindicative. Like we live in a world that's antagonistic to the things that we need for newborns and mothers and fathers and need in order to support this new spirit that's come back into the world.
I agree. We have Lyric 3 saying, love pickles.
Yeah, I have some good pickles for you.
Awesome.
I think in my I put it in my stories if you want a direct link for the pickles because I just posted it.
Awesome. Awesome. Please keep your questions and comments coming. We have a few more minutes left with Nzinga. While we wait for questions and comments, please tell us about your future projects and services. Anything you want to share with us. Thank you.
So in terms of future, I have my first group for the summer solstice happening now, but I have another group that starts July 5th. I wanted to get, whenever I've done it during the 4th of July week, it's never gone
Oh, yeah,
right. So
that's true.
I avoid that time.
Yeah, that's
You
true.
know, um, I have, I also do group coaching in a more central, a 3-month group coaching program, which is for those of you who really need some help living holistically, or you have very specific health conditions that you're trying to address, and you need me to be one-on-one with you. So we have classes that are together in small group, but then every month you have a one-on-one consultation, and in that group coaching you actually get the cleanse as well.
I love
So
that.
it's more bang for your buck, to be quite honest.
I love
So
that.
those are some of my offerings. Again, yoga classes. I have some art classes coming up as well, and some retreats. Those are some things coming up. Last year kind of messed me up retreat wise. Supposed to have a
Almost
retreat. We were
everybody.
supposed to have a retreat in Antigua and in
Oh, oh
Bali,
la la.
and the world came to a close. So we're working on
Oh,
new dates. I mean,
yeah.
because I live in Florida, I'm gonna have some retreats here because I realize I live where people vacation.
Yeah,
So
people want to go there. They want to go there.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. That's awesome. All right. Anything else you have coming up that you want to share? And also, please let us know the best way or ways for people to contact you for information, collaboration,
Sure.
signing up, questions, all of that.
Any questions, you can always email me at info@guessbabyilikeItraw.com, or you can go on the website, or you can DM me here at Yes Baby I Like It Raw.
Awesome. So I want to say a big thank you to you, Nzinga. I've learned a lot. I'm super pumped. I'm going to be pumped all afternoon. And I just want to ask you if you have any final thoughts and words for us. Just kind of wrap this all up and put a bow on it for us,
Thank
please.
you for having me and allowing me to share this information and my passions. Thank you for everyone for their questions and their also their insight, and have grace and compassion with yourself is always what I say to people.
Thank you so much, Nzinga. And I want to say that I was super pumped and happy about today because this is my 80th Instagram Live, and I'm
Yay!
super grateful to all of those who joined me before, and also for you as well. Super grateful for you. I am. To have number 80 today. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this on IGTV, my feed and stories, and then I'm going to message you after.
Awesome. It was so great to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. And we have NJ Frenchie. Great, happy 80. Thank you, NJ.
Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much again, Zinga. Take good care, and I will message you in a couple of minutes. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Bye-bye.
Have a
Bye,
wonderful day.
everybody. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye-bye.